What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of epic conversations. I'm also a certified empowerment coach and CEO and president of Express Your Vibe Coaching Communications. As always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. We've got two more friends here tonight. One of them has actually been on Blab before. It was about a year ago that she was on Blab. But she brought she was brought a posse, her posse with her tonight. And, we're here to share about a great conference that's going to be happening in September in Niagara Falls, Ontario. It's the third one, the third Truth Conference. And I'm not going to say what it is because these ladies are the driving force behind it. They're going to share it with you or what it's all about. But before we get to that, we'll get them to share a little background about themselves. We have Nadine Miller and Cheryl-Ann Phillips with us tonight, sharing on the conversation piece. So since Nadine has not been on Blab before, Nadine's going to introduce herself first. So welcome, Nadine. How you doing this evening?
I'm great. Thank you for having me on Blab. I'm actually excited.
Yes, it took a little effort, but we got you.
Yeah, I had to come into the office instead.
Absolutely. Right? Can you share a little background about yourself?
So my name is Nadine Miller. I am a TV producer and stage playwright as well when I'm not TV producing. And I do a lot of management and events planning along with Cheryl. And we create events all over for other people. But now we've decided to create Truth Conference just to give back. So this is our baby for giving back to all the gifts that we've gotten over the years.
Excellent. And Cheryl-Ann?
Well, my name is Cheryl-Ann Phillip, and my primary role is events planning. And Nadine and I, we do a number of things, and I'm usually the person behind the scenes, making sure the administration is running well, all the documentation is in place, all the logistical stuff, that's me.
All right.
And happy to be part of True Conference in our third year. As Nadine says, we saw a need in society, and we thought, okay, what can we do to make a difference? And we thought, okay, why don't we put on a conference of this nature, a wellness event that will give people an opportunity to gain tools to live their best life now and use this as a way of giving back to our community.
Excellent. So before we get to a little bit of the history behind the Truth Conference, how did you two meet?
Well, we were working at the same not-for-profit organization. I came out of corporate Canada. I worked for a telecommunications company for a number of years, and I actually my background is chemistry, so I have a degree in.
Okay.
Yes, I have a degree in biochemistry, and I ended up in telecommunications. Go figure. But anyway, while working for this telecommunications company, I had a coach and a mentor, and he says, Cheryl, I think you will be at your best if you're able to marry the sacred and the secular, because you seem to be doing it ad hoc. And I think when you get to a place where you're doing this on a full-time basis, you will be most efficient and most productive. And by golly, he was right, because my next company that I worked for was a not-for-profit organization, which was faith-based, and it allowed me to do just that.
Then how did you two... Oh, let's get how did you two meet? Because I know the story, but I want you to tell your story. So how did you two crash into each other?
Okay, Nadine, you go first.
We started working together on the events. So she would have all these events that she had to produce, and we would have to be the treatment of it to make it look pretty. So we would create all the video promotions. We would create the decor look. We would create the look of the banquets. No matter what she was coming up with, we would, as a production team, we'd pull the team together, and once a week or sometimes twice a week, we would have to meet. Depends on how big the production was. If there's going to be 10,000 people, if it's going to be 5,000 people, we had to come together and pull a team together. And so my production team with her events team, we came together and make, we should say, a nice event, an event that everybody was pleased. It's that wow effect that we're always looking for. And we were always trying to up the ante on each event. So daily we kept, I think we met daily. And then that friendship just grew. And then we'd end up having lunch together. So we found a nice Thai restaurant that we would frequent, like, because we had to have that pumpkin soup. And it's just things like that. We still do once in a while. We don't do it too much, but we still do. We still go by there and just sit down and build team buildings that we would even sit and create for the teams that we would work with, just to make sure that they could work together and just live a healthier life within the work environment versus being stressed out. So as we were working together, that's how that relationship has been forged. And it literally, I think her parents, I'm just their daughter they didn't have, because I've moved into their house a couple of times, especially when we're working on late night projects. I've just moved myself in, and I mean literally packed my suitcase, reel it into the house and say, "Hi, Mom and Dad, I'm home." So, yeah.
Excellent. So I actually really would drill down. Do you remember the first time you met each other? Do you remember what it felt like? Like, were you saying, this is a good person, or I got to feel her out, I got to check her out and see what she's all about?
I don't think we had time to feel out each other and check each other out. We knew each other on maybe just a regular basis before we started working together. Like, we've seen each other passing through and through, but we just never actually spoke to each other. So I'd say, "Hi, Cheryl, how are you doing? Hi, Mr. Phillip, how are you doing?" I actually knew her dad more than I knew her. And I had forged a relationship with her dad because I grew up within the not-for-profit organization, because it was a church. I grew up in there. And he was one of the youth mentors, and he would be there to make sure that we didn't do things we weren't supposed to. So he was always present in times of trouble to make sure we stayed out of trouble. So I knew of her, and I looked up to her, and I just admired some of the things that she was doing. She was always busy, always doing something. Sometimes I didn't understand what she was doing, but she was always busy. And for myself, I was always busy too. But then it just, someone came to us, I think a couple of years ago, and said, "Hey guys, the Canadian, what's that center called, Cheryl?
The Air Canada Center?
Yeah, the Air Canada Center came to us and said they want us to do the first Christian basketball game. After basketball game, we said, okay. And that's when we really started working together as a team to say, we're going to actually do something outside of everybody else. So working on that project, we had to trust. And that same year that we're working on that project, I was flying out to Ghana. So I have no choice but to trust. So we created that wow event, but then I had to leave it. So I didn't even get to see it happen. But Cheryl was there, and once Cheryl was there, I felt safe in leaving that project to go where I needed to go to at that point.
Cheryl, what are your memories of working with Nadine on that first project? And most of the people, if not all, outside of us here are in the United States. So when we're talking Air Canada Center, that's a capacity of about 15,000 people. So this is the first project you're working on together. Don't go small.
Well, it's interesting because the opportunity came through Nadine. Someone had approached her and said, I have an opportunity to do the first Christian concert post-Raptors game. And we thought, okay. She thought, okay, that's a good idea. She says, you know what? We can do it on our own, but let's pull in Cheryl-Ann and see what she can add to the mix. And so she came to me and said, hey, here's an opportunity. What do you think? And it's like, wow, I'm in, right? So we got a team together and we started working on that first Christian post-Raptors concert That was December, I think it's 2013.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. And so starting from ground zero, trying to get everybody on board and all the things that had to be done, all the logistical stuff, but it came to pass, and we had a great time, and it was really well received. And so after we did that event, we had another opportunity to work together again when the Harbourfront Park in Toronto, they had done extensive renovations and they were relaunching the following summer. And so we got an opportunity there to do a gospel concert at Harbourfront. And it was like, okay, then
we're liking this.
We're liking this. And then we had a meeting, and we all came to the understanding or the conclusion that, how can we help people? When we look around, we see people harassed and perplexed and just tormented. They seem to have all the worldly goods. They have the car, they have the job, they have the trips, how many trips per year. What can we do? Then we thought, okay, we'll have a conference and we'll bring in all these expert speakers and we'll call it The Naked Truth. We were so excited about the name, The Naked Truth Conference. The only thing was, we were the only people that were excited about the name.
Hey!
Here we are, targeting a group of folks. It was, we didn't really want it to be a Christian conference. We wanted it to be a conference that based on Christian principles, but a conference. But somehow it tended to lean towards being a Christian conference, because when we tried to explain the mandate, what we felt we had, people just weren't grasping it. They couldn't believe that we could bring the sacred and the secular together. So they felt that it had to be one or the other. And we're saying, why can't we create a melting pot? So we had a real tough time, even with our marketing people, to help get that idea across so we can market effectively. So we called it the Naked Truth Conference. And I tell you, all the Christian folks, they ran full cover.
Nobody wants to get naked.
Yeah, nobody wanted to get naked. And we're saying, okay, naked in the sense of transparency, authenticity, integrity. That's what we're thinking when we say naked. Well, when they heard naked, they heard exposure.
Tell my business.
Yeah, tell my business, air my dirty laundry.
Yeah.
It's like, So we realized very quickly after the first year, we had to do some rebranding and change the name if we wanted it to be the success that we would like it to be and get the kind of results that we're hoping that we expected to get. So that was a bit of a history about how we came up with the name. We were all sitting around the table and we thought, what are we going to name this thing? What are we going to name it? And we're scratching our heads, and finally someone came up with Naked and someone came up with Truth. And we sort of put the pieces together and we came up with Naked Truth Conference.
And now we've dropped the naked.
Okay.
We've dropped the naked and we called it Truth. And because I think it will get across to a bigger audience, because we really just want people to be well. Mm-hmm. And you can't get what we want to say unless we say change it.
I want to just invite any people in the audience that have any questions around your conference. Surely ask. One of the questions that come to my head is it have all the presentations that you've worked on been Christian based?
No.
So here's a question, and I know someone may jump in from the audience. What has the experience been working Christian versus non-Christian events for you two?
For me, I don't think there's much of a difference, because people are people, and people just either they need help or they're wanting a product. So when I do productions outside, whether it be with the heritage singers or the Celtic show or something to do with the Canadian Film Festival or the Fringe or something like that, when we're working, people are just people, and they want a product. And what they want that product to be is delivered in excellence, and to be delivered in a way that you respect their space and respect who they are as a human being. I think that's what people want out of anything. And then the next thing they want is to be wowed. They always want that wow effect when they walk in. That word wow I love when I see it come out of their mouth when they walk in. They may not say it loudly, but you'll see they go, and they whisper. And I always look for that one thing. So whether it be secular or Christian, people are just people. And a lot of Christian people go out to secular things. They just don't tell anybody because I see them.
That's
true. Cameras don't lie.
They don't want to get naked. They don't want to get naked,
cameras
right?
don't lie, right? You see certain things. Exactly. I remember being at, and I'll give you this, and I don't know if I should tell it, but I'll tell it anyways, because this is, we're in the truth area, right? This gentleman, I went to an event, and the bar attendant had to go. And she said, I've got to go downstairs. And she said, can you man this thing for me? I said, well, I don't really know what to do. If somebody asks me, she goes, whatever they ask you for, just mix up something real quick and just tell them that it's on the house. And I'm like, okay. So this gentleman comes in and he stands at the bar and I turn around and he just about dropped. I said, stop, calm down. I said, I'm not going to tell anybody you're here. I said, what is it that you would like? And I served him, and he just looked at me and goes, you sure? I said, listen, I would rather know that you're doing this, and if something was supposed to happen to you in the night, I know how to get you home, then you hide, and I don't know you're here, and I can't keep you in safety. And then he relaxed. I'm not going to go back and tell who. Everybody does what they want to do behind closed doors, right? And it's giving that person the freedom to live and understand that God is your judge. Not me, because we choose what we judge, right? What's good and what's bad.
Okay. Cheryl, great story, by the way. I appreciate that. Cheryl-Ann, can you tell us the difference in experience from the first conference to the second conference? Because you did make the indication that you dropped the naked from the branding of the second year. So how was the experience different year one versus year two?
Well, year one, we were still massaging the whole layout of the conference and the various components. So year one, the turnout was a small turnout, and we had excellent reviews from that turnout. And we thought, okay, what was good about this? Let's keep. What wasn't so good? Let's drop. And what do we need to implement that we didn't have at all? So year two, you saw some of the new things that we implemented, as well as dropping some of the things that we didn't like the first year, to make room for those new things that we implemented. Now, the second year, the first year we had Alvin Day was our keynote. He spoke on empowerment. Awesome, awesome, awesome. We had a panel on relationships so that people got to ask questions, and we knew that was a favorite, so we made sure we kept that. Not the panel, but we kept the workshops on relationships for the men and the women in the second. And that was a real bonus because the people really loved those workshops. And then the second year, we had Dr. Cheryl-Ann Leaf. Oh my, what a wow. What a wow. We were just, I don't know who was more surprised. We were surprised that she said yes, or she was surprised that she saw us. But anyway, it was love at first sight. People kept on saying, how did you guys get Dr. Cheryl-Ann Leaf to come to Truth Conference? I said, I sent her an invitation and she said yes. So I said to her husband, I said,
just ask.
I just asked. And I said to him, I said, how did you choose us? He said, well, we put everything we get to prayer. And when we put it to prayer, we got the nod. So we knew we had to be at your conference. And that was good enough for us. And her being a neuroscientist and really doing what I love best because of my science background, bridging science and the Bible, to me, I was in heaven, because those scientific truths that, that is being discussed, and then finding out that the root of so many of those things are in the Bible, and how she was able to explain it empirically and give backup to support that. For me, that was just phenomenal. So the second year with Dr. Cheryl-Ann Leaf, now that exposed us to a wider audience of people because she is so well known. And so I would say from the first year to the second year, we had a different type of demographics in the audience because of the type of keynote that we had. So that was probably one of the biggest things that I would say was different from the second year. And now this year, because we recognize that the conference is primarily a wellness event, we make sure that we have a balance in terms of the spiritual, the physical, and the emotional, because there's so many emotional issues right now, and everything you hear is about mental illness, mental illness, mental illness. We're saying, okay, we understand that, but let's approach from a positive end. Let's present mental wellness. And so the workshops that we have and the speakers that we've brought, these are all expert coaches that is able to speak in their various fields on mental, well, not just mental wellness, but physical wellness and spiritual wellness.
Okay. And same conversation piece for Nadine. What was the difference for you from year 1 to year 2, and what have you implemented for this year's conference?
When we did the first year, one of the things that we looked at was the singles. The singles they said, "Hey, where's our workshop?" They said, and not that I want to talk marriage issues, but I'm not married. Actually, I want to get a husband or I want to get a wife. How do I get that husband or wife? And I'm just like, oh. And this is when I was sitting with them at the tropical night dinner, because we do a tropical night dinner. And when we do that, I was sitting at the table with them and they were telling me some of the different issues as singles that they were having. And I'm like, you're having that problem? I was like, oh, I never thought about it. I just thought, you put one thing down and you think everybody can eat it, right? So the singles actually requested that we would go to bring them into a forum where they can speak, talk, and just have something that they could hold on to. And that's actually when we asked you, Dr. Vibe, to come. Yes, you were the first singles coach that we've had. And they had a conversation. And that conversation that you took them through actually just broke some barriers for them. I remember sitting around that area doing something else and watching tears. And then the tears turned to laughter. And then the laughter turned into complete joy and setting somebody's free just from the things that was happening inside their lives as singles. And what men are looking for and what women are looking for, sometimes it's two different things. It's two different understandings, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that was a big change for me. That was a humongous change.
Excellent. So what are you seeing to implement in year 3 from your end? Or want to see in year 3?
Year 3. I'm going to spice up the tropical night a little bit more. We're bringing in a live band with the live singer, and they have the backup singers. It's going to be a Caribbean type feel, because somebody said to me, "Well, Nadine, it's a tropical night, but it seems more Canadianized." I said, "Really? So you want a little bit?" I said, I can bring it if you guys want it, right? So I called up somebody. I'm not sure if you guys know the R&B singer Glenn Lewis. His mother is actually a singer as well. And
yes.
So I called her and I said, "How are you doing?" And I started talking to her and I said, "Would you honor me by coming to Truth Conference?" And I just thought I was asking her. And she called me and said, "Nadine, I think you need the band, the full band." And I said, "Okay, I'll do it." If you guys are game, I'll do it. So there's going to be like a tropical night band there, and they're going to be singing from what you call paranging and steel pan and doing there's different languages. They sing in Italian and Portuguese, and they sing in the Caribbean, because you know how the Caribbean's really mixed. When we have that that patois and all the Creole and all the different things mixed up in there. So we're going to have like a good, what you call, Americans call, I think, a jambalaya or something like that, that melting pot of food, of taste and flavor and spice. We're going to have all of that. And then we have a live DJ. So we're really spicing it up with that. So that's going to be a big change that you will see. The decor will be a big change as well. We're going to make it more tropical as well, because our brand strategist said to us, this doesn't look tropical. It looks like a regular banquet. I said, thank you very much. We will change it, sir. And we're going to be implementing that. And I started already. So we're looking forward to that look and feel, having that change and everybody coming on their tropical wear and doing that part. The next part I'm looking forward to is the workout. Now, I started the workout last year and I didn't make it at all. God help me. I just did not do well. I'm just Ernestine Shepherd, just like put me to shame. And if you meet this lady, Ernestine Shepherd, and most of you should know about her, Miss Ernestine is one of the most amazing ladies. And she encouraged me with hugs and just love. And I really appreciated that hugs and love because I really didn't do well at all. But this year I went and got my running shoes and I started the running. So I've actually fit back into some clothes that I didn't normally fit into. So I'm actually doing some changes to make sure that Truth Conference does not find me in ill health, because what we want to do, we can't preach it unless we actually do it ourselves, right? Get healthy.
Well, you know what? I can attest to that.
Go ahead.
Because last year when we had gotten the affirmative from Ernestine Shepherd that she would be joining us. Now, bearing in mind, Ernestine Shepherd turned 80 this year, right? So when she came last year, she was 79. And I mean, this lady's got a six-pack on her, like is to die for, right? Among other things. And my mother said to me, don't you dare let this woman come to your conference and see you looking as though that you are grossly overweight. So my mom put me on notice at a very early time to say, you need to start getting in shape. So by the time Ernestine came, I had lost a few pounds. And since Ernestine has left, she has really encouraged me to stay on it and stay at it. And so I've lost over 75 pounds since.
How much?
75 pounds. So,
wow.
So you have to understand, if we're walking in truth, we are walking in truth on all levels. And Nadine and I, we purpose that we will be role models of our own event. We're not going to just talk it, but we're going to walk it.
Congratulations. That is outstanding. Are you going to go on tour with Ernestine after the Truth Conference?
Don't think so.
All right. So as you've spoken about one of the people that are going to be at one of the shares that are going to be at the conference, can you give a real rundown about some of the other people that are going to be appearing at the conference?
So we have Dr. Chantel Gervin. This year we brought in, she's a naturopath, and we chose her because when we're listening to the conversations and the feedback that we get, we realize that people are asking, they're saying they're stressed out at work. They're stressed out in their lives, and stress is hitting them in so many different ways that they're trying to figure out how to maneuver. So what she's actually going to be teaching on is how to deal with negative stress and come out on top and get into a place where you don't have to suffer by yourself. People are being silent sufferers. And I don't believe anyone has to suffer. Not if we create an event like this and give them the tools and let them meet people that they would probably not normally meet and get themselves in a place where they can be healthy in their minds, in their hearts, and at work. Because work doesn't dictate how you live your rest of your life. You should be living your best life now, even outside of your workplace. And you shouldn't be bringing it home. But a lot of people bring work home, right? And it affects their family, their marriages, and just going there. And then we have Henry Wong. What a lot of people don't know about Henry Wong is he brands politicians and he brands corporate companies. And a lot of times people don't know how to brand themselves. How do I brand myself and showcase myself in the best positive light and just move myself into a place where I can be my best me and cause others to respect my personal space and respect me in the work environment or even just in a social environment. And a lot of people don't know how to do that. And that's what he will do for them. You've met Jay as well. And Jay Torley is, he is about financial, just getting into your financials in order and understanding how to build a legacy. A lot of times what we do, the next generation has to start over every time. So if the family buys a house, if the parents die, we sell that house and we don't have anything to go back on. There's nothing to leave a legacy. So what we're looking at now is legacy building, how you can build a legacy for the next generation, your children, so they don't have to build on nothing. They can start on your platform. So we want to encourage people to do that. And then I'll let Cheryl-Ann take it from here so she can speak about the rest of the speakers as well.
Okay, well, after Jay, we get into lunch and we have a panel Q&A. This is an opportunity. One of the things is that we want this conference to be informative. We want people to come away with tools and resources so that they can implement and start making changes. We just don't want our speakers to be talking heads. The conference is not designed for just talking heads. It's interactive. So we have a Q&A session at lunch where people get a chance to ask questions. Dr. Jovan will be part of the panel. Richard Brown will be part of the panel. He is a counselor at Seton House, so he's seen humanity at its absolute worst. So for those people that have family members that have severe mental wellness issues, or even just social issues, family issues, substance abuse, Richard Brown is there to help field some of those questions. After Richard Brown, we have two simultaneous workshops, one for the singles and one for the couples. We've got Deborah and Noam Cohen. Now, they are an interesting couple. Deborah is a pastor and Noam is a ninja. Yeah, go figure. Pastor and ninja has come together, and they will be talking about intimacy in marriage. Now, they've had some experiences, and it hasn't all been positive for them, but they will be sharing those experiences and encouraging couples how they can stick it through and come out on top. Now, while they're having those conversations, we have Sam and Naomi Titta will be speaking with the singles. They too have an interesting story. They were separated for 5 years and things did not look good. So they'll be talking about, how to prepare for marriage. So relationship readiness, so to speak. So often people say they want to get together, they want to get married, but are we really ready? We're not, there's some old things that we need to shake off. There's some things that we need to adopt, but sometimes we're not prepared to make those changes.
And
so we get into a relationship and things do not work out well, and then we become embittered, et cetera, et cetera. And really, they're there to share, okay, if this is what we've learned, and we're here to share it with you. What do we need? What things we had to change, what things we had to adopt to make our relationship work for us. And they've been doing pretty good. So after that, we've got Ohinoa Akufo. Ohinoa Akufo is a Canadian Olympian, a female wrestler. Yes. And she is going to share, she's going to do the workout first of all, but she's going to share about physical wellness, how as an Olympian she had to train to keep her body to a level that is expected as an Olympian. Some of the health challenges that she faced and how she overcame some of the negative reports that she received from the doctors and said, this is what's happening with your body, and all the negative stuff that came with that, how she was able to overcome that and still go back in and win a few more titles, including, I think, another Olympic medal as part of her lineup of medals that she's won. So Ohinoa is going to be doing the workout, talking about physical readiness. And then after that, we have Diane Leshak will be talking about the benefits of essential oils. So often, any little ache and pain, we run to the doctor, we get a prescription, and we're constantly popping pills, feeding off prescriptions. We use so many chemicals in the home. She will share about the power and the benefits of essential oils as successful alternatives for a lot of things that we may have in our medicine cabinet that we don't even know that we can use successfully today, and doesn't cost a lot, and it's certainly safer for us and for the environment. So after Diane, we have a bit of a break. You get a chance to rest up, and then you get ready for the tropical night reception. We have a steel pan reception with appetizers. You get to meet and mingle, have fun. And while you're having fun, we have a photo gallery. We have an award-winning photographer that will be showing his artwork. So that will be on throughout the night, and that's Eric Spence. And we even have Camille Lauren, who will be painting throughout the conference. She will be painting the experiences that she's experiencing as a painter. So she will be translating what she's hearing and seeing and putting it into art throughout the conference. So after the reception, we go into the banquet. We've got prizes. We've got all kinds of giveaways. We've got the band that Nadine spoke about. And then we have a DJ. And we're going to dance until
we stop
the wee hours. And you get to sleep in, have breakfast, and enjoy Sunday. So we thought we'd give you a bit of a rest on Sunday, have a nice big breakfast on us, and then just enjoy the day. We want people to go back home rested, not exhausted going into another week, because we want you to be able to start thinking about all the tools that you've gathered over the weekend, all the resources that you've amassed, and how am I going to start putting these things into practice. Dr. Carolyn Eve talked about how many times you had to do something so that it becomes a habit. And so we want people to start adopting these things. So the tagline for Truth Conference is real change, not, made up change, not emotional highs, but we want you to have a real change experience.
So let me ask, with the Truth Conference, what does real change look like? Ideally, you go to the Truth Conference. What do you feel real change would look like for the participants, for the attendees at the Truth Conference? What does that look like post Truth Conference, hoping and speaking that it will happen?
Like, for example, for me, I'm thinking of the actual physical change. After Ernestine, I continued on that path. So I can say a year later, 12 months later, the path that I started just before Truth Conference 2015, I'm still on that path, and I can show physical proof of that change. That's the kind of change that I'm talking about. Now, some instances, the change will be, the change cycle may be a little longer. It may take longer to implement, and it may take longer to see results. But the fact is that, there's a line drawn in the sand and say, okay, from today, I am going to make this commitment to, whether it's my family, there are some folks that haven't been speaking to their family members for a long time. There's been lots of animosity in the home. There's been reconciliation, and for some, that reconciliation is still continuing. So we have seen nuggets of real change. And that's just to give you an example of the type of changes from the spiritual component for those that are coming and they're wanting to learn, learn a little bit more about perhaps the Bible, learn a little bit more about how to pray on the Friday night. That's where the spiritual impetus will take place. And we have our counselors on hand to help there as well.
Excellent. Same conversation piece to you, Nadine. What do you want? What do you vision real change coming out of this conference?
I think real change for everybody's going to be different. And what I've realized is some people have started their own businesses. Some people have actually, come back and said, can you help us with something, or can you help us to do that? But I see relationships growing. The changes. I mean, marriage is healing. And the reason why they found that the environment was safe for them, what they spoke about in their privately, they didn't hear it back. And they found that to be a safe environment. When I look at it, look at health. Health-wise, some people literally healing in their bodies from the prayer night. And then some people actually just, they're dancing. Like some people haven't danced in years. And they were able to dance.
Yeah, saw that last year.
They got down. one of the things that I really appreciated, we take this very seriously. So we've been sponsoring people some of the people that can't afford Truth Conference. Like when a couple called, Cheryl-Ann is the one that fields most of the calls. So she called me and said, Nadine, there's a couple that wants to come and they only have $100. And I think, okay, $100 a person. Okay, Cheryl, don't worry. Let's just do it. And they came and they couldn't, it wasn't $100 a person. It was $50 a person. I said, okay, we can do it. And, calling up a friend and say, you know what, I really need you to help me sponsor someone to come to the conference. And what we believe in is that Truth Conference is for everybody to come to. And we don't want money to be sometimes the issue why somebody can't come. So we go out and we even look for sponsors to make sure that if somebody calls and says, I really want to come, but I can't afford this. I really want to come. And when that couple came and they started talking to us and they said to us, they wished that they had this when they were younger. Something like this to encourage them to start a business or to do something that even now in your senior years, they would not be suffering financially. And those are the things that take away that I just want to see more of. I want to see people's lives change so drastically that they move into a place of mental wellness. Mental illness is not because people choose to be mentally ill and you choose to tell somebody, come out of depression and come out of this and come out of that. It's not because they want to be in depression while they're there. If we listen to Dr. Karen Leaf last year, it's the mind itself has gone to a place where it's in a dark place. And it takes somebody sometimes to hold your hand and walk you out and tell you what to do, tell you how to get there. And that's what the speakers do. They tell you how to get on that journey, whether it be for your personal, whether it be for your health, whether it be because you want to start something new, start your business. Each person is there to encourage. Like I know, Dr. Vibe, when you're there, like you're a constant encouragement for us to keep going.
Oh, yeah.
Keep going. Guys, you're doing great. And sometimes that's what you need to be behind you. Because we're doing an event that we don't know. We know that it's needed, but does everybody know it's needed? And when you're there behind the scenes saying, guys, you're doing a great job. This looks good. Do this. We follow. And when we follow through, we see results. And it's the same thing for the Truth Conference. We want people to be mentally well, because when you're chemically imbalanced, you can't be well. When your home or your workplace or something is going awry, it causes you to be imbalanced. When you don't get enough sleep, it causes you to be imbalanced. What do women do? Like one of the key things that came out inside the women's section with Erin Faye Fran last year was this. For women, when they're growing up in age, their bodies start changing. And when your body changes as a woman, you can't handle certain things. So this one poor lady is, she's trying to have, passionate lovemaking with her husband, and they're using a lubricant that is not good for her. So she's actually in pain, and he's thinking she doesn't want him anymore, and all kind of things that was just happening, and all it was is that you just need to use a water-based lubricant. And those are the things that they're able to talk about inside the class, inside that atmosphere of safety. And the women were asking questions about their hormonal imbalance and how they can do. The photographer that was there, he was male, and he said, I didn't even know my wife's body was going through changes. I don't know nothing about my body. When are you guys going to teach me about my body? And I went, whoa, here we go. Another question. And what's happening is that every time somebody gives us a question, we try to answer it the next year. We don't leave it and say, well, somebody else will answer it. No, it's really about your mental wellness. And it's anything that can cause mental illness. If you fall and you break your leg and you don't get to go outside, and you're your person that you're used to running outside every day and you're really active and you can't move, all of a sudden you get into a depression. If you used to have a job and you don't have a job anymore, you can move into depression. So depression will happen to people with different things. If your family, people leave different countries and go into a new country and their families, that extended family isn't there anymore, they can end up in a depression. There's many reasons why people are in depression. So what happens is people don't want to talk about it. So we're saying, we don't want you to talk about depression. We want to talk about your mental wellness. So your mental wellness has to come from a place where you're finding the tools that you need to make you happy. It can't be a person. It's not your husband or your wife that can make you mentally happy. It's you have to become happy. You have to become emotionally well. And anything that's affecting your dis-ease and causing you to be in dis-ease all the time, you need to look at it. And what we say to you at Truth Conference, look at what's causing you dis-ease and change it into a place, whether it's if you're physical, change it. If it's your workplace, well, I'm not telling you to quit your job, but maybe you need to look at come from a different standpoint and say, what is it that I'm not getting, or what is it that they're not getting from me that's causing them not to, causing this friction, and move into a place where you can now speak to it and cause changes to come. And sometimes you have to cause changes by visiting HR and doing certain things and putting certain things in place so that you don't have to be in dis-ease. That's why HR is there, whether they know it or not. That is why they're there, right? So there's all these different things, and even how you yourself present yourself. You can't present yourself a certain way if you're in a certain environment. When I'm in the theater environment, I'm in black, and that's all I wear. I'm just wear black because we're not supposed to be seen. When I'm behind a camera, it's black that I wear. When I'm supposed to be in a corporate event, I have to change my outfit, and I have to put on that suit, and I have to put on maybe that colored dress or whatever the case. My hair has to be combed. It doesn't matter if it's natural or whatever the case, but everything is done. So you have to make sure that you put yourself the way you need to put yourself. And that's what personal branding does for you. So all those different components makes your life better. Everything, your family around you. How do you treat your family around you? What's causing there to be friction in the home, or whatever the case may be? It's having those speakers that can look at you and say, love, this is what's happening, and this is how you need to do. You know what I love? I love watching Steve Harvey, because he's real. Ask Steve. And I see people ask Steve the weirdest things, but I laugh about it. But it's helping them. It's helping them. It's when you're Dr. Vibe, when you're having these conversations that you're having, and people are calling in and talking to you and having conversations. That's what people need. They need to have a conversation sometimes. And we're training each other how to live the best life now, so that you can do what you're called to do on the earth. I believe when people are healthy and they do what they're called to do on the earth, they live a really, I think, perfect, not perfect, but the best life they can live in today's society.
Are you sure you're not speaking at the conference?
No, because you know what? The conference is not about us.
Sure.
I do moderate in certain, he's Vicky, I do moderate. But when it comes to speaking on, we try to give as many experts as we can in certain fields, because we believe that we can sit and talk. I mean, last time I had 5 different tables I had breakfast at. I just kept picking up my plate and walking to the next table and talking to people, and then picking up my plate and walking to the next table and talking to people. And the reason why I did that is to get to know the people and let people know that there's people out there at Truth Conference, and we love you. We don't know you, but we love you. We love you as a human being, and we want the best thing for you. We're your biggest cheerleaders, and if you're not doing right, we're your biggest adversaries, and we're going to push you into your destiny, and you're going to make it. That's what Truth Conference is telling you, that you're going to make it.
Well, you know, one of the things I share with people is a lot of times if your life's a mess, it's because your mind's a mess.
Very true.
Very true. You know, a lot of people aren't sleeping. When you're sleep deprived and you're time starved, and a lot of people, we're so busy. We're busy. I've never met a busier generation. We're busy to the point where we don't even know what to do with ourselves.
Busy doing what? Busy doing
you know
what?
Like, it's not that some of it's not good, but it doesn't mean maybe sometimes what's good for somebody else, it's not good for you. So, you know, people are doing a lot of things that's not really necessarily good for them, but if they're busy because maybe somebody else wants them to. Like somebody I know went, he's sick, and he was somebody asked him to do something, and he wasn't supposed to do it, but he went and did it and threw out his back. And I said to him, "Now, did you need God to tell you not to do that?" And he said, "What do you mean by that?" I said, "Did you need God to come down from heaven and tell you not to do what you just did?" He said, "No." And I said, "But now your back's thrown out." And I said, "And now you need healing. Where's the person that asked you to move all that stuff that they asked you to move. I said, did they call the doctor for you? Are they going to pay that bill? He's like, no. I said, well, so this is what we need to use wisdom. You know what I mean? Wisdom. When somebody calls you and says, I need you to do this. I need you to drive me down the street. Are you going to pay for the gas in the car? What are you going to do? I don't mind you helping people, and you have to help people. But when it's coming to the detriment of who you are as a human being, and it's causing you to be in dis-ease, and your mind is, oh, I wish that person would call me. I can't stand that person, and all these kind of negative things. You need to move into a place where you say, you know what? I would rather not do it if I have to curse the person. I would rather not do it if I have to lose sleep over it. Go ahead, Cheryl.
You know, one of the reasons, Dr. Vibe, that we hold the conference in Niagara Falls is because we want people to get away from the city. We want people to make a conscious effort to say, I am going to get out of town for a weekend. And that's why we call it a weekend getaway. Because when we are in town, we get so caught up with all the stuff that is happening. And we think that's what life is, and really that isn't life. I can speak for myself, and that's one of the reasons why we have the keynote that we have this year, is because for myself personally, I got into a place where I was just so busy that it impacted my health. And because of that busyness, I ended up having stress-induced cancer.
Oh.
Yes. But I thank God that I got the help that I needed in time to help me navigate through those waters. And when I was recovering, the naturopath that I went to, she said, you're going to have to make some hard choices. There's certain things you're doing that is toxic to your health. You're going to have to make some decisions as to whether you will continue those practices or whether you will change. And I decided I like living. So I will make some changes. And changes I made.
Good choice.
Exactly.
Good choice.
But I had to come to that place, right? And to find out that because of the stress that I had, the negative stress that I had subjected my body to for so many years, this was the fallout.
So as we wind down our conversation, a few more pieces here, and just want to say a shout out to Lynn, who's watching, Lynn Jones, and Tina Michelle was on for a lot of the conversation. She said something very wonderful. She said, yes, there's only change when there is a transaction. We will have our prayer team pray for the conference, which is good stuff.
Thank you.
And at 12300 says, always take time for yourself. Ladies, what do you want to achieve at this year's conference? What are some things you want to achieve?
Sure.
Or see happen?
For me, I want to see people, when they leave the conference event, they say, we have some great tools that we're going to implement. And not only are we going to implement them, when we see you next year, you will see us better than where we are now. You will see us there. I want that when people walk away from Truth Conference, they will walk away rested, not feeling like they're on rollerblades, feeling like they've danced, feeling like they've learned, feeling like they've rested, and ready to go home to a family, to a church, to a company, to their own business. Whatever they do, that means they can give their best towards their children, because now they've learned some tools they're going to implement at home. They can give their best towards their workplace because they've learned some tools that they're going to put in place to make sure somebody else doesn't make their environment toxic. I want them to learn that them as an individual is special, that they're one in a million, that no one on the earth can take your place. They say that and I've said it in the past, that the graveyard is the most wealthy place that we've known. And I don't believe it. I believe our schools are the most wealthy place. I believe our homes are the wealthy place. I believe our workplace are the wealthy place. These people, we're alive, we're well, and we're able to do some great things on the earth for each other, but we need to be healthy to do so. So I want people to leave there knowing that they've been to Truth Conference, but they are ready to take on whatever it is around them and make some drastic changes and cause people's lives to be better.
All right,
what
Cheryl-Ann?
I would like to see that people would get off cruise control and take control of their life and just don't let life happen. But they create life. They make life. If you know what I mean. I know you can't physically create life, but just don't exist from day to day. Be engaged in living and want to make a difference, want to leave a legacy. You know, not saying, well, you know, I can't do anything. I don't have anything to offer. But, oh, okay, what can I bring to the table? What can I contribute? What can I do with the little that I have? You don't have to measure what you have. It's using what you have. It doesn't matter how big or how small it is. So if someone can come away from Truth Conference realizing that, oh, I've got a little barley loaf and I can do ABC with this barley loaf, I'm excited. And that they can go home and start putting things in place to actually make changes and to see a difference, I'm excited. If they go home and tell one other person about what they accomplished through Truth Conference, I'm excited.
Well, ladies, I think you've got everything out you wanted to about the conference, other than how can people find out more about it and when is it and where is it?
Well, the Truth Conference will take place September 16 to 18, Niagara Falls, Canada, at the Americana Conference Resort and Spa. Now, all you need to do is go online to www.truthconference.ca and register. We'd love to see you there. And we'd love to know that we connected through Blab and the Dr. Vibe Show. So, again, it's truthconference.ca, Niagara Falls, September 16 to 18 at the Americana Conference Resort and Spa.
Excellent. And also you can follow them on Twitter. They're on Twitter also at Truth Conference. I have had the pleasure of being involved with the conference for the last 2 years now, and it's had a great experience of sharing last year. And it's part when people ask me about momentous times in my journey, especially being an online broadcaster and I call myself a sharer, not a speaker. That moment there, I've shared that story many, many times, and I won't get into the story, but it was quite the scene in a good way at the Truth Conference for me last year. And I'm speaking that I'll be able to attend this year and not only have my own life change, but help change other lives in a positive manner. So, ladies, I really like to appreciate both of you for all the work that you do and all the work you continue to do. I speak it that it's going to be another successful presentation, even better than the two ones previously. Right. So it is the Dr. Vibe Show here. I am host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show /conversation, and we're using the new tagline, "This is the home for epic conversations." So we just had another one. So, as we like to say, if you want to touch base with me, it's Twitter at DRVIBESHOW. Also at email-wise, dr.vibe@the.drvibeshow.com. And ready to make it easy, just go to the website address, www.the.drvibeshow.com. We have had some epic conversations, especially over the last few days, which are leading to series now on the Dr. Vibe Show conversation. So if you want something to be addressed on the Dr. Vibe Show platform, definitely shout me out. Actually, I have one last conversation piece for the ladies. And I don't know how you're going to handle it, so I'm just going to throw it out there. How are we going to get more men out at the conference?
Well, men, we have some great looking ladies there.
There's a good encouragement.
without baggage.
Yes.
Without baggage. And a lot of them are actually, some of them, I have some guys that have signing up already. So guys coming out, I don't necessarily see it being a big problem. So it's just the men coming out to encourage more men.
Exactly. I think, gentlemen, go and enjoy. It's a great environment, a great atmosphere, and away from the city, relax, and just enjoy a great weekend. And that's men and ladies alike. Just so great league. You're going to get enlightened, empowered, educated, and entertained. I've had seen some of the speakers there. Henry Wong is phenomenal. So if you want to learn about branding from a gentleman who lives it and knows all about it, I would highly recommend. Just that session alone is worth it. Whether you're into branding or not, that session alone, just as general knowledge, is outstanding, but it's just one of many. So going to shut it down. As always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. And this always happens on my blogs. People start jumping in as I'm going to shut down, but these ladies got work to do, but I'll stay on an after show. So see you at the conference. If you need any more information, we've put up the website address. These ladies are here to serve and empower you. God bless. Peace be well. Keep the faith, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.